Chip and I strongly believe that if life gives you lemons, you should make a lemon arbor. This lemon arbor was ignored for many years. It was planted 20 years ago, and then 2 years ago we came in to make it look like a lemon arbor and not like a bunch of sick lemon trees growing straight up. I think in about 1 more year we can compare this to our ideal lemon arbor picture and they'll be very similar. Okay, Chip, can you talk? I'm John Valentino, president of John and Bob's Corporation, here with Chip Valentino, vice president in charge of turning lemons into lemon arbors. So after the initial improvements that we did a little over a year ago, now it needs about once a year pruning, tying, and it's right now ready for it. You can see you've got a lot of branches that are just coming out into the walkway. So as you can see in this, it's producing a lot of straight up shoots, which don't do us any good in terms of looking like an arbor. So you'd select those strategically and bend them over and tie them so that we create this arbor effect with the branches. You might pick an interval of branches. You don't want to use the ones that are all growing in the same spots. I don't believe any were tied when we first started. I think they did away with their plan for a lemon arbor right after they planted the lemons because there was no sign of them being tied and trained properly. The horticultural green tape is my favorite thing to use as we tie these. That's pretty good for branches. If you use anything heavier that doesn't have give, then it digs into the branches. After we tie them, then we go into pruning where we clean the sides up, we clean the inside up so that you have a clear path to walk, a clear path to view. On the side, you mostly clear it. We want the growth over the arbor, not beyond that. The pruning will be very logical after the tying. You're going to prune everything that doesn't lend itself to that look of a lemon arbor. It's not like certain branches need to come off. It's more like all the branches can be considered to come off. Whatever is in the way of it looking like the type of arbor you want. One that is a great example that needs to be pruned is like right here. It's in our way. We don't want this to continue to get bigger, so we would go to where it starts and we prune that off. And we kind of repeat that in a lot of spots where we think the growth is going to impact our ability to walk the arbor. Now this is a good example. This one could impact it, but instead of clearing it of all greenery and all ability to produce lemons, maybe we just shorten it and we cut it back to a bud here. And that way we get some nice growth on the sides, on the inside, and it's not just clear-cut, branches. And I like that we see leaves. In fact, I wouldn't mind if there were more leaves on this. To some degree, I think the exposure is fighting against us. We're close to the house here. So that's your choices. You can look at a branch and go all the way back and remove it if it's in the way, or you can go back to a bud and trim it. This one I was thinking of trimming back to this bud, but I see 2 lemons right here. I like lemons down low, easy to pick, so I think I'm going to leave those 2 lemons. At some point in the future after the crop, maybe we'll consider pruning this back. The only way to get a healthy, strong-growing, pest and disease-free lemon arbor is to subscribe to our YouTube channel. So the key to making lemon trees grow in a very healthy manner is soil. The way you maximize the health of plants is with a balance of nutrients. That's macronutrients, micronutrients, enzymes, and even minerals. And the best way to get a balance of all of those is via the soil. We infused the soil with life, beneficial bacteria, fungi, good protozoa, good nematodes. Let's get the soil as healthy as possible. Then you start to get this complex life that is key to allowing your plants to be as healthy as possible. There's several ways to infuse your soil with life. Earthworm castings are a good way, although to do it over a big area does tend to be expensive. Compost is great. Compost tea is excellent. What we used was very convenient. A granular product we call Blend, and we just applied it topically, and then our Penetrate Liquid Biotiller, and we sprayed right over the top. They do very similar things to what compost and compost tea does, but they do it with just once or twice a year applications. Lemons can be subject to pest and disease like mold, rust, aphid. All of those things can be discouraged by healthy soil. Up to 70% of pests start in the soil. One of the real good strategies is if you build life in the soil, that those pests will be eradicated before they become pests. While they're still in the soil, beneficial microbes eat the beginning forms of pests. If you rely on only synthetic fertilizer to feed trees, then you don't have the infrastructure in the soil there to prevent and defeat pest and disease. If you do run into some pest or disease problem, use some kind of organic product that's good for the plant, good for soil. Wow, it's got some nice lemons here, huh? Yeah, there's lots of good varieties of lemons. Lisbon and Eureka are probably the two most popular, and that produces a classic lemon. And then there's some other varieties. There's one called Ponderosa that produces really big lemons. Maybe this is Ponderosa. It was planted before we got here, so we're not sure what variety. Lots of choices. All of them would work fine to make a lemon arbor. So you can build the arbor first, which seems like a straightforward way to do it. Or you could plant the lemons first and not let them grow too much and then build the arbor. Lemons do grow pretty fast, so you should be able to have something that looks a little bit like a lemon arbor within 3 years. We hope our video on the lemon arbor has been helpful. If you have any comments, put those in below.